Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday. As you are listening to the show today, we have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen. It is the second in my new series, Meet the Maker Monday. We chatted last month with the maker of Bold Buffalo Candle Company. And if you have not had a chance to find Rebecca's candles, go. What are you waiting for? I'm happy though today I've got a newbie on the screen, and I have not even met Rachel until we met up on the Zoom screen. She is a referral for this series from Carrie Hahn, who you'll get to listen to tomorrow because it's Tourism Tuesday. Rachel Lofton is the owner of Fable Sage. And I'm not going to give away too much, Rachel. I'm going to ask you to tell me, what is Fable Sage?
Well, thanks first for just having me on here. I appreciate being included in this. Fable Sage is my business, and my sort of catchphrase is that we create beautiful gifts for pet parents. So if you are an animal lover, specifically a cat or dog lover, we probably have a greeting card or a mug or a towel that would suit either your household, or if you're looking for a gift for somebody, it would suit as a gift.
And you create these yourselves. You come up with the designs. Are you actually doing the artwork on, for example, the greeting cards?
I do all of the artwork. Yes, I do all the artwork. So there's a couple different styles that I feel I have within the line. Some things are a little bit more traditional, some are a little bit brighter and poppier, but all of the artwork is my own.
Now, do you have a background in art? What were you doing before you decided to start this company?
Art has always been here for me. When I was a little girl, I remember being in third grade and our teacher asked us as a class what we wanted to be when we grew up. And even in third grade, my answer was artist. So it has always been a core part of me. I did go to school for fine art. I realized while I was in school that there's not a ton you can do with a fine art degree unless you go into graphic design or teaching. And I wasn't terribly interested in those, but my life just sort of came full circle, and here I am, using my art in my own business. So not something that I saw happening, but I'm thrilled that it did.
So how did that happen? I mean, I assume you started this kind of as a hobby. I'm guessing making things for yourself and family and friends.
I did. So it really started with oil paintings. I did, and on occasion still do, commissioned oil paintings for folks. And then I started moving from the oil paintings into drawings of people's animals. And then one year I put a drawing on a card and I posted it on Facebook just to my friends, and really received a good response to it. And I thought, there might be a business here, because not everybody can afford a painting, but everybody can afford a card. So it grew from that.
And I have learned since becoming a dog mom, a puppy mom, that we all want things that have our pets on them. Even if we weren't pet people before, once we have a pet, we totally embrace that lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah, it's true. And that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing too when you're drawing for pet parents, because everybody wants their dog on something. And sometimes that's hard to do. If your dog is a Chihuahua Greyhound mix, that's a little tougher, So I still do a lot of custom work, a lot of drawings for people for that reason, because their dog doesn't, fit into a category that is more widely recognized. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to meet people's needs.
And I know because we're on video right now, you have one of your dogs sitting on your lap. Do you use
Yeah,
them as models sometimes as a go by or for inspiration?
he's definitely inspiration. I had dogs previously to him. We've just had him probably 18 months now, about that. I had Springer Spaniels prior to him, and they were a constant point of inspiration for my paintings. Like I would just look at them and I could see paintings in them. So yeah, my animals have definitely been an important part of my growth as an artist. Yeah.
Where did you come up with the name Fable and Sage? Are they names of some of your previous pets?
No, this is sort of multi-pronged. So Fable and Sage came to be because I wanted a business name that had sort of an earthy quality and an organic quality to it. And I felt that Sage accomplished that. And then Fable is really because of a border or frieze that I had around my room when I was little. And it had like sort of a woodland scene and animals in it. And it always just stuck with me. And I thought that pairing of Fable with Sage just really worked well, and it had all the qualities that I wanted for a business name.
I always love hearing the story behind a small business owner coming up with the name for their company because it's the cornerstone. I mean, it's one of the most important things you'll do when you decide this isn't going to be my hobby anymore. This is going to be an actual business. And I've
Right.
heard some of the coolest stories about how people come up with their names. And a lot of them they tie back to something in their childhood or somebody that they knew or something that had happened to them.
Yeah, core pieces of who we are. I think those things that um, help us become who we are when we're little never really leave us. Whether we're aware that we're carrying it with us or not, I think it's always still there, and it pops out at opportune or inopportune times.
So you started this, we talked about this a second ago, as a hobby, but it's a full-blown business now. I mean, you have staff, right?
No, I don't have staff. On occasion, like my busiest time is sort of third and fourth quarter. So I do sometimes hire help then, but most of the year it's just me. So staff-ish. I don't know how you want to describe that. Yeah, staff as needed.
I noticed when I was looking at your website that you also have wholesale. So this isn't even just a business where I discovered you at the pantry at 117
Yes,
and I could have discovered you online through your website and bought something from your website. But if I have a shop, I can also buy your things and resell them too.
correct. Yes, I do both. So I started selling retail first, which I think is how most makers begin. And then for a number of years pre-COVID, I traveled to New York and did a wholesale trade show there that was primarily geared towards stationery and gift. And it was there that I began to develop my wholesale business. But it's something that I've been able to continue even through COVID just by having relationships with retail stores, and also being a member of a couple wholesale platforms that sell wholesale online.
And sometimes that's a big stumbling block for somebody who really does want to take their hobby to the next level is figuring out all of
It's
those
massive.
different pieces. How did you happen upon some of these avenues that you were able to pursue?
I've always wanted it. I like once I set my mind to something, I really am pretty dogged, no pun intended, but about figuring out the best way to get from A to B. So I knew that I wanted to grow the business, and I felt that having retail and wholesale would just make a stronger business. So I sought out the ways to grow it. You can find anything on Google these days. You can really learn an awful lot just by digging in and doing a little research and seeing what's out there.
Did you find that once you started offering your things wholesale that you kind of had to broaden the types of things that you were offering or the designs that you had?
No, I would say, in fact, if anything else, it's sort of the opposite. The biggest thing that I had to learn with wholesale was how to make all the numbers work, because there's a lot of different margins to consider in there. When you're creating a product and you're selling it directly to the public, there's a lot of room for wiggle room with margins. But when you're selling it to somebody who then needs to resell it, you have to make sure that your product costs are aligned. So that was the largest learning piece for me.
And that's a stumbling block sometimes for a lot of small business owners that are getting into business for the first time, is they're really great at what they do or what they make, or they're really great selling what they do or they make, and they're good with people, but it's that business end, it's the numbers and the money and the organization that sometimes causes issues.
Absolutely. And I think too, for creative businesses, sometimes that's a little bit harder because we're not strong in all areas. And I know that my strength is definitely in the creative part of it. And I've really had to learn the non-creative part of it, and not just learn it, but make sure that I continue to pay attention to it and don't just get too excited about a new product and, release it to wholesale and then realize after the fact, oh, well, that really wasn't, a very smart business decision for me. So there's a lot of sort of checks and balances as far as that goes with wholesale.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, can we talk about some of the different products that you have for people, from the note cards to the tea towels to the mugs, and kind of walk me through maybe your creative process? And I know that you print them locally. So can we talk a little bit about that as well?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. We are pre-recording with Rachel Lofton. This is part of our Meet the Maker Monday series. She is the owner of Fable and Sage. You can, during the break, go to fableandsage.com. That is all spelled out. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk more with Rachel Lofton. Hang in there.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday. As you are listening to the show today, we have pre-recorded our conversation with Rachel Lofton. She is the owner of Fable and Sage. This is part of our Meet the Maker series. And Rachel, we talked in the first segment about how you morphed this love of art into a full-on actual business where you are selling your products in stores, online, wholesale. You mentioned in the first segment that it all started off with a card. Tell me about the cards.
Okay, so it started with holiday Christmas cards. I decided just to draw a card for my own use for Christmas one year. And I actually never even ended up printing it and using that card, which is kind of a funny aside. But for the first year or so, Christmas cards were really what I was focused on. And then from there, I added all occasion greeting cards, like birthday cards, Mother's Day cards. The line has just continued to grow from that. So just about any occasion that you could want, I have a card for that somehow ties back to a cat or a dog. So it's fun.
And you said that you have a degree in fine art, that you also do oil paintings on occasion. Are these cards, are they pen and ink? Are they in color? Are they sketched? I mean, how, kind of paint a picture of what one of them looks like for me.
Well, so we're in the digital age now, which is kind of interesting because when I first started in 2013, I was drawing everything on paper. And then I guess 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I was given an iPad Pro and I downloaded the Procreate program, which you may be familiar with. And once I started drawing digitally, I have not drawn a single thing on paper again. It's amazing, just absolutely amazing. There's so many things that you can do with it that are quicker, faster, brighter, more fun. I just absolutely love what you can do with the digital stylus.
I would imagine it makes it a whole lot easier too to get to that completed finished product that you can put in your hand. I know back in the day when you would do something like that to make a print, you had to be able to scan it or you had to take a very good photo in order to
Yes,
create a print from a painting. This probably really does simplify that whole process
it
too.
does. Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah, so there's no scanning. It's just downloading the file, resizing, moving, just sort of doing your layout. But yes, it cuts out that whole section of things. And there's so many different ways of drawing digitally that oftentimes you can't tell that it wasn't drawn on paper because you can choose nibs that look like pencil or nibs that look like watercolor. It's just really amazing what technology can do.
And you're still doing the actual drawing. It's not like you're finding something and then tweaking it. This is still your original creation.
100%, yes. Yeah, it starts with a blank screen, blank page, whatever you want to call it at this point, and I am drawing the dog, drawing the cat, writing the words. Yeah, yeah.
So, how do you come up with some of those ideas? Do you carry a little notebook where you scribble things down? Do you talk into the voice memo of your phone when inspiration strikes?
I wish I was that organized. I'm always thinking about it. Like my brain never stops thinking about it. And sometimes if I see something cute but is not animal related, I'll just kind of put it in my subconscious and just let my head sort of work on it for a few weeks and see if there's a way that I can shift it to make it my own and make it work with an animal theme. Um, I guess if I was more organized and wrote things down, I'd probably accomplish more, but it doesn't really happen that way for me. It's pretty loosey goosey.
I take a lot of pictures of stuff. I'll see something and I'll snap a picture because I want to remember that to remind me. I will do a lot of screenshots on my phone. If I
Yeah,
see, I have a social media marketing company. So a lot of times I'll screenshot a really good comment or a post that I see from another company out there somewhere so that I can remember and reference and go back to using it for something else.
right. And there's, especially when you're in a creative business or when, like for me, generating original images, I have to be careful there too because we can see things and save them. And I think sometimes our artwork becomes informed by outside influences and we don't even really realize it. So it's important to find that balance of inspiration and then also pushing that away and just letting what we have in ourselves bubble up to the surface and be our own voice. So I try to stay really cognizant of that too.
What kind of timeline do you usually work from inspiration to finished printed project? Is it a year? Is it a couple of months? Is it a couple of days?
It's a couple of weeks to a couple of days generally if it's a card. I am really fortunate in that I can print locally. So the cards come pretty quickly. Other products I am not able to print. I have to send out for those to be printed. So that lead time is a little bit longer. But the market moves so quickly that I don't have the luxury of months really. Yeah, and especially to be seasonal and timely. And there are trends just in terms of color. There are trends in the language that we use and all of those things. When you're in a product-based business, you have to kind of stay with.
So how did you decide to start adding things? Because you have more than just the cards in your product line.
I don't know that I have a great answer to that. Part of it is just because I find lots of things interesting. I'm attracted to more than just cards. I felt like my business would be more robust with more than just cards. But there are also businesses that are only cards and, do a terrific job. So I don't think there's really a right answer or a why there for me. It just felt comfortable and I had the ability to do it.
And do those products change as inspiration strikes? I mean, do you have mugs and tea towels now, but in a year it could be doggy feeding bowls or something else, as
I
my dogs are
do
barking in the
not know
background?
I don't know what's going to be ahead a year from now, so I can't speak to that. But it does change because I think we all want to see new things. So the tea towel may not change, but what's on the towel would. So I have tried to limit it to gifts for the home or functional gifts as opposed to like t-shirts or headbands or that kind of thing. I've kept it to mugs, pillows, towels, that sort of stuff. So there's a little bit of thought behind the direction I spread out into.
Where can I get them? I mean, we've talked a little bit about your website, the fact that you sell wholesale. I can actually physically buy them in the pantry at 117 or your website, right?
Yes, you can buy there. You can also buy at 4-Star Printing, which is in Woodstock. They have a really nice collection of items there. You can buy at the Strasburg Emporium. I have a booth there. Tin Top Art in Winchester on the Loudon Street Mall also carries my products. So there's a handful of places locally that you can source them.
And then if I want something that maybe is just for me and my dogs, you joked earlier that sometimes people want things that have their dog and it's a little
Yeah.
complicated to make a generic something for somebody else. But if I have something that I want to do because we have new puppies and maybe for their birthday, I want to send something out to everybody, letting them know, something funny or quirky. Do you do custom pieces?
I do. And I would say the two most common custom items that I do are note cards. I will draw people's, like exactly your dog on a note card, and you can customize the text that you put on it. So I sell a lot of those for folks who just write notes or thank you notes or invitations, that sort of thing. And then a ton of custom holiday cards with people's animals on them.
I haven't done holiday cards in forever, but that might be the thing that gets me back in the habit.
It's funny because everybody talks about how that industry is down, but there's a lot of people sending cards still. A lot of people. It's still very robust, even if it is less than it has been in years past.
And it seems to me like the pandemic would have maybe increased that a little because we weren't able to see people in person. So I would hope that it would have made us still want to stay in touch and go back to the days when you would write somebody a quick little note or a card for their birthday or things like that.
I agree. And I think all of us would agree too. And I'm not saying this just because I'm in this industry, that there is nothing like opening your mailbox and actually having a letter from somebody or a little note card or a greeting card. Like it really is a special thing in this day and age. And I think people are recognizing that.
So tell me your website one more time, and then also give me all of your social media outlets where people can get an idea and see more of your stuff.
Sure. My website is fableandsage.com, and that's spelled out. I'm most active on Instagram, which is also at Fable and Sage. And you can find a page for me on Facebook, but you probably won't find me there. So Instagram is the place to go.
And we joked earlier too that you've got one of your dogs sitting on your lap. Most of what you do is dogs and cats. Do you have cats?
Yes, we do. We have one cat. Yeah.
I would say otherwise that would be kind of odd.
Yeah, no, we have a cat. And I started doing cat things prior to having a cat just because people would say, where are the cats? So yeah, you're not wrong there. Where are the cats?
I think that is awesome. Well, Rachel, thank you for taking some time out of your day to tell me kind of what goes into the process. I'll put a link to your website and your Instagram account in the show notes page so people can go and check it out. But I really do appreciate your time today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We are going to wrap up our conversation with Rachel Lofton. She is the owner of Fable and Sage. Again, fableandsage.com. This has been part of our Meet the Maker series. Tomorrow's Tourism Tuesday. I mentioned Carrie Hahn earlier. It is Shenandoah County edition of Tourism Tuesday. So that means Carrie will be here with me tomorrow. Meet us back here a few minutes after noon.